I know the Pizza Planet truck wasn't in the first one.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You see that guy right there talking to Brad Bird, the director of The Incredibles? Yeah, that's me. And you're probably wondering how I got there, and to be honest, so am I. I guess it all started back in 2016 where I made a video called Pixar Theory, Who Are Boo's Parents? But long story short, Disney invited me to come meet him. And who would I even be if I didn't ask him about a theory? Which is why today, I'm gonna tell you the story of how I got a Pixar Theory confirmed. Unfortunately, I only had a limited amount of time to talk to Brad Bird and make a video with Brad Bird, so I couldn't just force him to watch one of my videos and ask him whether it holds up. For the record, totally would if I could. And with the release of The Incredibles 2 imminent now, like literally a week to go now, 13th of July, I feel like I had to ask him about a theory that was relevant to The Incredibles 2 as well as the original, which is why I chose to ask him about
Jack and powers and everything, because he has lots of powers.
In The Incredibles 2, Bob specifically says 17, and those are just the ones he knows of, so there could be a lot more. But I, of course, being a theorist, am unwilling to accept that he just gets all the powers any superhero could ever have purely for plot convenience and because his name's a pun of Jack of all trades. Because it just makes him completely overpowered, and why don't Violet and Dash get all the powers they could possibly want? They're made up of the exact same genetic makeup, and they only get one, or two in Violet's case. Which is where the theory comes in, because this theory perfectly explains why Jack has all the powers he has, and also explains why Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl and Frozone have the powers they have. Because the Incredibles are quite literally the only superheroes I can think of where we get given no explanation to how they got their powers. Every other superhero has an origin story. Spider-Man was bitten by a radioactive spider. Superman came from another planet and is an alien that's just better than humans in every single way, so has all these superpowers. With The Incredibles, we're given no explanation. It's implied that Violet, Dash, and Jack have their powers genetically from their super parents, but Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, Frozone, were they part of some government project, or were their parents superheroes too, and we just don't know anything about it? Either way, this theory suggests that this genetic abnormality that gives people superpowers always reflects their personality through their powers. So whether it be Dash, who's impatient and impulsive, meaning he has super speed, or Frozone, who's just a really cool, chill guy, so therefore has the ability to make other things cool and chill by freezing them. Every single character with powers has a power set that reflects their personality. Even Jack. The only thing is, he is still a baby, and his powers only manifested moments before the final scene of The Incredibles, which is of course in the short Jack attack where he showed off a few of his powers. And the reason he's showing off so many powers is because he doesn't have a personality yet. So therefore his powers reflect all the personalities he could possibly have. And the theory is that over time, as his personality develops, his powers will start to reflect it. And I know in The Incredibles 2 it's implied that Jack is showing off so many more powers than either Violet or Dash did as babies, but it's also said by Edna, it's normal for babies to show off multiple powers while they're really young. And I personally can't think of a better solution to this than the fact powers are based off personality. And that was the theory. And I say was because as of right now, it's about to get confirmed. Because here's what Brad Bird, the director of The Incredibles and the creator of this universe, had to say about Jack's powers.
Yeah, and I actually had a question more about the characters, and specifically Jack and powers and everything, because he has lots of powers, as
yes.
Obviously, I think it said 17, and
it's a lot.
And it's also said that it's common for children to have multiple powers as when they're young. And is that something you can add to the lore, and did Violet and Dash have multiple powers?
Well, I think that everyone, I mean, the idea of The Incredibles is that you use superpowers to comment on roles within the family.
Yeah.
Men are always, fathers are expected to be strong, so I made him have super strength. Mothers are pulled in 10 different directions at once, so I had her stretch, etc. And the idea of babies is that they're unknown potential, and they could be nothing. They could be the guy that yells about socialism on the corner. You kind of go, oh, yeah, okay. Or it could be somebody who cures cancer, and you don't know.
Yeah.
And so that's what it's meant to represent, is that babies are potential. Yeah. And some people have come up to me when I'm drawing something and said, oh, I wish I could draw. And I always look at them and go, you did once, you just weren't interested in it. But all young kids draw. And they're all kind of good in their own way because they're expressing themselves. And it's just that some maintain interest in drawing and others don't. And that's kind of what we do. And then there are some people who maintain interest in everything, and they're able to do a number of things well because they're interested in a number of things. So I think humans are capable of far more than we think we are, and our minds limit us rather than free us.
And there you have it. We just added to the Incredibles canon, and well, I couldn't be more honored to be the source of this information. Brad Bird as good as confirmed that Super's powers are based off their personality, and that the reason Jack Jack has all the powers he has is because he's potential and doesn't have a personality yet. And also, if I can take you back to the start of his response, he basically implied that Violet and Dash were the same as Jack Jack when they were really young.
Did Violet and Dash have multiple powers?
Well, I think that everyone...
Well, I think that everyone what? Everyone that's a young super shows the same signs of multiple powers as Jack Jack did? Totally what he was gonna say. Like, I find this so crazy because that was literally his headcanon the entire time and no one knew. Well, I mean, we all knew, but... And honestly, I think he embellished the theory a little by implying that the way the powers decide what kind of power set a super's going to have is similar to the sorting hat from Harry Potter, where it isn't just your type of personality necessarily, but more so what you value about your personality. Meaning Mr. Incredible, who values being the strongest and showing he's the best, is super strong. Or Elastigirl, who values flexibility and can deal with being stretched in each and every direction, is elastic. And Frozone, while we don't know as much about his personality, we do get a little short clip of him talking about himself right at the start of The Incredibles.
I mean, you tell me you're a super, mega, ultra lightning babe? That's all right with me. I'm good. I'm good.
Which shows he does indeed value being the coolest guy around, and therefore quite literally is the coolest guy around. Violet values her privacy and likes to keep herself to herself, so can manipulate light to turn herself invisible and create force fields. And she gets 2 powers because she values more than one thing about her personality. It just makes perfect sense. And finally, of course, we have Dash, and well, I don't know what I can say about Dash. He doesn't like being bored and values every second of his life and just wants to have fun. So therefore, time moves slower for him, making him a speedster. It's just perfect. And while I have no idea how they got their powers, I'll ask Brad Bird again when The Incredibles 3 comes out in 14 years. Which I just want to say, he didn't say no to.
This is akin to coming into a maternity ward where somebody has spent a day sweating and screaming to get a new baby out into the world, and the first thing you say to her is, "How about that next baby?" So we are not in that frame of mind at all. We all are going to continue to promote this film.
That's right.
Then we're going to aggressively take vacations, and which we will intensely enjoy every second of. And after that, we'll all figure out new things to do.
And that is all I have to share with you guys today. I can't believe I got offered this opportunity to make this video. Like, if you had told me I got to make this video back when I made that first Pixar Theory in 2016, I'd have laughed at you. So I do hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like because I just made a video with Brad Bird. What's there not to like? Check out my other social medias, including Twitter and Instagram. Please follow me because I want to get 30,000 followers on Instagram and 20,000 followers on Twitter. So you can subscribe to my channel by clicking here. You can watch another video by clicking here. You can check out my merch here and in the description down below. Go buy some merch because why not? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right.
Testify. I think we're done here.